Hello, I'm Dave Peach, and this is the Crawfordsville Peach Cast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. See them in person or at tricountybank.net. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. Crawfordsville Peach Cast. We are presented by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892, and we're also sponsored by Central Indiana Rubber. Power for you. Dave Meyer is with us. What do we always say, Dave?
We say hello.
Hello, Todd.
Yeah.
When you,
Dave, good to be back.
Real quick, when you say and onion rings, okay? Let's say I want a hamburger and onion rings. Do you say the D, or do you just say and onion rings? A-N-O-N rings.
Well, Dave, I just say and. I say and. If Ann Harper was around, I would say and. But with her not around, I'm a Hoosier saying and. Give me a dog and suds.
I was doing a commercial yesterday. And the last phrase was, and more. And I was emphatic to say the D. And, and more.
See,
and more.
In that case, I might have, because the D sets up the more better. But if you're using it almost like an ampersand kind of thing, then I do the and.
Is that what you use when you have a flat tire? I don't know what an ampersand.
It's the thing that looks like a musical instrument.
Okay.
That denotes the word and.
Okay. Now I'm with you.
Seals and crofts.
Oh yeah, the squiggly thing. Now that squiggly thing messes up with our computer as far as turning in orders. It like makes it like 28 characters. So you have to put A-N-D. Like if it's Seals and Croft, you have to put A-N-D or that ampersand. Now that I know, oh, that's the one. Yeah, okay. Let me say, am I saying it right? What?
I believe it's ampersand.
Ampersand? You don't have to look it up. No, it's okay.
Well, I'm going to, because I could be totally wrong.
Is this like asterisk? Asterisk? Yeah, not asterisk. It's not an asterisk. It's not an asterisk. It's not Rick Astorley.
Is it plural?
Asterisk.
It almost sounds plural.
Asterisk. Ampersand.
Yeah, it's a character or symbol for. Yeah, it is.
Ampersand.
Sand.
Ampersand. Oh, I appreciate you pointing that out. Now, how about this one? And this is all about Jeff Nelson. He's our special guest today. We're going to get to Jeff. He's going to work with Tom Brady this season. Tom Brady's set to join Fox Sports, and Jeff Nelson's going to be there in the booth with him. We'll talk to him coming up. But I also wanted to talk, in the old CBS days, they had an announcer. I'm trying to get everything in there. They had an announcer.
Okay.
And he would say brought to you by. Now, wait a minute.
Brought to you by.
Now, do you say the two T's, brought to you by, or do you just, and maybe we've talked about this on a past podcast, but do you say brought to you by, like a bra to you by with one T, or do you try, or should you say both T's to be precise, to be more precise, to be correct?
To be correct, I think you are supposed to say all the T's. I would not. I would roll those, or I realize as I hear you say that I roll those.
Yeah,
that's just
I'm also
it's
a stickler.
Colloquialism kind of thing. How do we excuse this?
See, it's very odd to say both T's. Brought to you by. It's almost like I think on this one, I'm almost going one T because the two T's just sound silly or they don't sound natural.
They do not sound natural. They sound some kind of inflated regal thing that you're trying to do, because you just brought to you by is the roll. Brought to you by.
You said it there. You're trying to sound. Yeah, I think that's the key there. It's like Okay. I mean, we're really drilling deep now, but I do like your. I am a big your, not your. Your friends. No, it's your friends. And for. You wouldn't say he was fur for fur. You would say he was four for four, right? 4 for 4. A lot of people say 4 for 4. Like put the FER in the middle of that. I try to say he's 4 for 4, and that even sounds kind of over enunciating.
Maybe a little, but you could that sounds less pretentious. 4 for 4.
4 for 4.
4 for 4.
These are things that
we get locked up on, and can go all day.
Yes. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, we got Jeff Nelson coming up. Your thoughts on Tom Brady? Please. Just be nice. Be nice to TB.
It's exciting to Jeff Nelson. And first of all, I'm sure Jeff Nelson is going to make Tom Brady look and sound incredible. What we have known, though, history has shown us that not every incredible quarterback, and obviously Brady is the GOAT, so he would be the exception if there is one. But he, being a broadcaster and being a really good color analyst is, a different gear. And maybe he's got it, but the words I say, and I love this guy, and obviously Madison Avenue still does because they're still using him on a lot of ads, is Joe Montana, Dave.
Oh, my. Don't. I'm sure there's some that have, and he was a big Joe Montana fan growing up.
And NBC, I believe, was in the Joe Montana business there for a bit. And, it just, Joe as a personality, I think, because that's what it takes. You can work hard, you can prepare, you can be prepared. But if you don't have that personality to infuse into that, there's just a gap with the audience.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Joe Montana, because when you look at the San Francisco 49ers and the announcers that they have produced, Bill Walsh, shot no good, and then George Seifert, and then they had like some other guy named Brent Jones too. And these people all got on podiums. They went straight to the top.
Gigs. Yeah,
I mean, Bill Walsh. Why did NBC dump Enberg and Olsen? I mean, they dumped Olsen to bring in Bill Walsh, and they ended up bringing in Bob Trumpy to work with Dick Enberg, because Walsh was such a I should say, was not. He didn't last very long. Let's just say that.
He didn't raise. He kind of. I don't know. I remember it was almost like, like the clock starts when he would begin to talk. It just never felt like he was there with us, And Dick Enberg deserved better, Dave.
Oh, why Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen,
didn't Paul McGuire end up on that team?
They ended up with Phil Simms and Paul McGuire and Dick Enberg. Dick had several partners there.
He carried a few
last 10 years of his career. But then you go on the other side, and the Dallas Cowboys, they can do no wrong. I mean, you go back to Dandy Don, you go to Troy Aikman, you go to Tony Romo, you even go to Moose, the Moose guy. Who's the Moose guy? Now, they did have Roger Staubach. Roger Staubach was a huge failure as far as a broadcaster goes. You got to have one in there.
The rest of those are Hall of Famers, Dave. They're A-lister that have, stood the test and, critically as well as being, popular with fans. So that's wild. Dave, I got to say, from an observation standpoint, no one has ever distinguished between the 49er and Cowboy ex-players as broadcasters. Folks, stay tuned, because more of that's coming.
I'm telling you what, many individuals will be waiting for Tom Brady's first game. I would imagine that's going to be one of the higher-rated preseason games, because I'm sure he's going to do one of those to warm up.
Oh, yeah. They got to have him warm up and be able to say, Tom's easing into it. He's working through some of the rough stuff.
We'll see. And what is he making, like $38, $39 million a year?
And I think that's it. Like nothing else. That's all he gets. The rest of it's going to charity.
And I will say in the last 2 years, because it's a Fox show, I don't understand why Tom Brady didn't show up on The Masked Singer.
Ooh,
I mean, what would, I think it would have been because Gronk was on there. I'm thinking, to kind of launch the deal there. And we always said that's Tom Brady, and never was, obviously. But I think he could have been the Archer or something. I don't know.
They should have. That should have been just a throw in.
I really waited for that.
Singer.
I'm still. I mean, Terry Bradshaw was on The Masked Singer. Yes. Joe Buck was on. I believe Joe Buck was on the.
He did okay.
Yeah, he was pretty good. But also, we'll have another TB on our third segment, the TBT.
Ooh,
and you're going to. I'm going to just ask you. Do you have any idea? When I ask you what the Elam Ending is, ELAM Ending, do you have any idea what that is?
Dave, in a weird, crazy way.
You do.
I actually do.
Okay. Shoot.
No.
You're supposed to lie, Dave. You're supposed to say, okay. I have no idea, Dave. Okay.
No, let's do it again. I'm going to
No, you're good. No, we're not. No. Okay. We are authentic on this show.
The only thing I know is it's not related to Jack Elam.
Yes, but it is coming up. If you know, we'll review it. If you don't know, we'll tell you. Dave is obviously a little more astute than I at first thought, so we'll give him an A for segment 1. But segment 3, the Elam Ending and TBT talk, and we'll have TB talk with Jeff Nelson after this on the Crawfordsville Peachcast.
You dropped your cell phone, the car won't start, and now your email has been hacked. Yup. Ever had one of those days? Tri-County Bank can help with a protection plan powered by Bazing. This is Bria French. Contact any of our offices to see how Bazing can resolve those big issues. Terms and conditions may apply. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Crawfordsville Peachcast, and we've got our old friend here, Jeff Nelson, all things media, all things sports. I mean, you just get it all.
It seems that way sometimes, and some days it goes from dawn to dusk, and other times it's one part of the country or one other time zone. But wouldn't have it any other way, Dave.
Okay, give us an update. Spring football.
Spring football is going really, really well. Rating numbers are good. The games are good. We track. We are well. Almost 75% of all the games are within one score for the final score. And of course, in the UFL, because you can have a 3-point conversion, 9 points is the one score number. So there have been a lot of great games. We've had a handful of 1-point games. We've had 6 walk-off field goals, to win a game. So it's been, the consolidation of the USFL and the XFL into an 8-team league has condensed the talent. And it's been really good. The quality of play is really good. So if you're a football fan, I encourage you to watch it.
And Jeff is in the booth for many of those games. How many games you work a week?
It varies. One weekend was 1. Lots of weekends is 2, and a couple weekends it was 3. So yeah, and we're doing most of these remotely. So I have been in New York City at the Fox Studios in New York, or I've been in the Los Angeles studios on Pico Ave Boulevard, which is just down from Wilshire Boulevard, right in the middle of Hollywood. So just got a set of monitors up, and I've got various camera angles. And, after a while, you can figure out how to keep stats for a football game, just by keep watching it on the monitors. So, yeah. And then I'm feeding back into the graphics a couple different times if I'm working like with Kevin Kugler. He is either on a baseball assignment or he's home in Omaha or Lincoln or wherever it is in Nebraska he is at, or sometimes someplace else. So I can literally be on a Zoom call. Actually, it's on Google Doc. So I'm typing the stats into him, and he's reading them on his laptop at the same time I'm telling the guys in California. So I was in New York, Kevin was in Nebraska, and the production guys were all in California, and we're putting TV on that's being played in Alabama or Memphis or Texas or something like that. Technology,
wow.
huh?
Wow, I'm trying to wrap my head around all this, but as long as you've got it figured out.
Yeah. Well, here's the really good part about it is the technology is now set up. Used to be that we would be a second or 2 seconds behind. Well, now there's some miracle that happens. So now literally we are all, I mean, I can be in Los Angeles and the other guy's in New York and vice versa. And we are all in sync. We're all in sync audio wise, and we're all getting the same video feed at the exact same time, so that when we're watching this guy run the ball or watching this guy catch the ball, Kevin on the East Coast, or me in the East Coast, Kevin somewhere else, somebody in the West Coast, we're all seeing it happen so we can communicate amongst each other and say, all right, that's a run for 6 yards, or that's a catch for 22 yards, or that's a sack by so-and-so. And we don't have to wait a second and a half for the next guy to see it. And that is incredible technology.
Wow. Now, coming up, we've got the NBA Finals, and a lot has been discussed about NBA TV rights. And, people talk about the NBA. They say this, they say that. Well, the NBA is ready to go from $2.7 billion to $6 billion a year in TV rights. I mean, this is a mind-blowing number, and they're expected to make some changes as far as the broadcast lineup.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and I'm sure a lot of folks have read stuff about Charles Barkley and Shaq and that whole TNT crew. It looks like TNT may be shut out. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, says, well, we're going to make sure and you can involve them. We're not sure how, but with that kind of money, they can make things happen. What, Davey, 100%, I'm not sure where this gigantic increase in money is coming from, because
I want to know who's going to get the $3.3 billion.
Right. Well, that's going to end up in the pockets of the teams, because it'll be just like the NFL. It's going to get spread out. TV rights.
I want the individuals.
Yes. Yeah. I
won't talk like that.
I just want the leftover change. I'll just take the numbers you round off.
Could they buy me lunch sometime?
That's right. A ham sandwich someplace. But for the last several years, we've all read, that the NBA ratings are down, that their viewership is down, and
it doesn't matter.
No, it does not. Because here's at the end of the day, Dave, and it happens across the board. It's the NBA and it's WNBA, it's the NFL, it's Major League Baseball. The only thing that is getting eyeballs on television on a regular basis is live sporting events. There's not enough live news events. There's not enough live anything other things. But I believe I read the right number in 2023. Out of the top 100 viewed events, 100 highest ratings in the nation, 95 of them were sporting events. And one of them could have been, one of them could have been the NFL draft, but it's games. It's Christmas Day game, the Thanksgiving Day game. It's the Super Bowl. It's the playoff games. It's the Giants and the Eagles, or the Giants and the Cowboys, or 49ers and somebody. And, the AFC's got their teams too. But that's where all the big draws are, and I know the writers' strike and stuff like that didn't help television networks at all. And that's all passed. But even so, they want to draw viewers, and they're going to pay. They're going to pay to get those viewers, and that's where it's all coming from. And NFL just did a new deal a year ago, and they upped theirs by like $8 or $9 billion.
And, you hear, we could talk about these numbers forever. The SEC is ready to go from like $70 million to $350 million for just the marquee matchup games.
Well, and then
ESPN.
Look at the Big Ten. It's turned into the Big 22 or whatever it is, and coast to coast, and the gigantic money being paid, for those college rights fees.
And I was home Saturday and watching the TV, and on network TV, we had the NBA on ABC.
Right.
We had the Fever on NBC.
Okay.
We had the women's Major League Soccer on Fox.
Okay.
And CBS had like a crime show. And I'm thinking, this is 2024, because if you look at podcasts, you look at different programming, it's a lot of crime that's at the top.
Yeah.
So I think it's crime and sports in 2024.
That seems to be the hot thing. If you're Kevin Costner and he's still producing Westerns, he would like it to be that. And back in the 50s and 60s, that would have been the thing, or sitcom comedies or something like that. But no, that does seem to be the whodunit, the technology of crime solving and that sort of thing like that is, whether it's NCIS or the 1,000 other different things that that come on in those shows. But yeah, you're right. And you talked about those from the big networks, but then look, you were just, what we were talking about before we went on, started the podcast. Look at all the other stuff. The French Open was on, because I know I saw that on a monitor somewhere.
Roland Garros,
and Rafael Nadal is playing his last French Open tournament. There would have been NASCAR racing on someplace along the line, probably an FS2. There was hockey. Hockey was on Turner of some sort. There was just tons and tons of sports to come on, and a crime show.
Yes, and a crime show on CBS. Let's go back to the NBA real quick. I wanted to ask a question about the announcers for Turner. Let's say that NBC, and it looks like NBC will become a broadcaster of NBA, and Turner will go away, or they call it Warner Brothers Discovery, WBD,
right,
which
right.
I learned this.
Nice.
I learned this.
Very well done,
WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery. That is Turner, TNT, all that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say that goes away, and this is a rabbit hole here.
Right.
What happens to the March Madness coverage? What does an announcer like, let's say Ian Eagle, he is he's on CBS as the number one college announcer. If TNT loses the NBA, then he does not have that to he's not a national announcer on the NBA. He probably can't go over to NBC. So how is that going to play out?
Well, some of the guys and gals have got it in their contracts that they can multiple network, and there are not very many announcers anymore that the networks won't take. Kenny Albert, I swear I've heard and seen him on like 7 different networks, because he does hockey, he does baseball, he does football, he does tiddlywinks and pickleball or whatever it is, and he crosses over to all of them. So there are those handful. There is, like the Kevin Burkhardt. You're not going to, he's the number one guy for Fox. You're not going to see him doing NBC games because he's the number one guy. Fox is paying him to be the number one guy. Joe Buck, you're not going to see him cross over. He's not going to come back to Fox to do a game or something like that. So there's a handful of those announcers that that are that way. Ian kind of just all depends on what his agent's got set up, kind of what he's got for his contract. If he doesn't do NBA, he will still probably do local NBA market. Yeah. Which will put him in, but he's with CBS, and CBS is tied into the college contract, and that won't be a problem at all. Ian and those guys will still be all part of that. So
you're saying there's a scenario. Let's just go wild speculation here. Let's say that NBC brings in Ernie Johnson, Shaq, Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith. Let's say they bring them in
to do their pre and post shows.
NBA on NBC, whatever. Yeah. So those guys can come in, you think, and do the March Madness thing like they've been doing for probably 10 years, more than 10 years.
My guess is it would be that in order to negotiate their contracts with NBC, their agents, that would be the first thing that they would say. We want to be able to do that. And then it would be a matter of what they and NBC are willing to do with each other. So yeah, those things are all negotiated. So, and some of it is going to be a matter of timing too, because if NBC is programming NBA heavily against the March Madness, so they're saying, we're putting NBA games on NBC so people will watch it instead of watching the college playoffs. Then they may just say, no, here's the deal. We're going to have you guys on the air on NBC. You can't be in 2 places at one time. So, but in reality, the networks are doing, because they're cross promoting. I mean, you watch a Fox game and you see ABC, hey, this playoff game's on this network, this playoff game's on this network, this Thursday night game's on Amazon, so it's just a matter of what they're willing to do. And for a lot of cases, those lines are crossing. It's just like everywhere else. Like the NFL used to be, all the NFC games are on Fox, all the AFC games are on CBS. Not anymore. We're going to have it. It's crazy how that scheduling is changing.
Stay tuned. And I know, you look at that college basketball tournament as far as the men go, that's a long-term deal with Turner and CBS as a partner, or as partners in that. So if the NBA goes away, it's going to make for a little bit of a decision and who you're going to bring in. I know CBS has a lot of talented announcers that don't get on for March Madness, but and this will all be in 25, 26.
Correct. One more season.
So we got one more season with everything going. But I personally enjoy Charles, Kenny, Ernie. I know Shaq does not make it to March Madness. I'm sorry, Shaq.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is.
Right.
But I love those three mixing in with the Jay Wrights and the Seth Davises and all that. I love the coverage of NCAA tournament.
Right. And that's and knowing that's why the networks allow those other guys to go do those other things. I mean, it's just
right now it's Turner as a partner.
Yes.
But Turner will not, or Turner will still be a partner, but they won't be the NBA.
No, but
they won't be the NBA deal.
Right, but the exposure of it'll be a negotiated thing. I mean, the NBC is a little bit bigger, a little bit more independent. I mean, they may say, guys, you can't do college basketball anymore. And then those guys will just have to make their own decision, how they want to do that. And they say, well, I would rather, because then they can step into doing some college instead of that. All negotiated, all a matter of time. Because the other part about that is that great big crew, those guys all get paid a lot of money. And if NBC is going to get them, they're going to have to pay them. And Adam Silver says, well, we're not going to let those guys go. Well, then is the NBA going to pay them? The NBA pays them to do this. Well, then the NBA can free them up to go do some college basketball, whatever it's going to be. So, yeah, it's all about money, just like always.
We'll see. I can't imagine Charles Barkley sitting around waiting for the NCAA tournament to go on TNT.
No, trust me. The way Charles negotiates things, I mean, and he does a lot of that stuff himself. Charles will be. He'll be in the mix. Let's put it this way.
Charles, I love him. To me, he's the entertainment. He's the Madden. He's the
and he just knows so much about the sport.
Yeah. Don Meredith.
Exactly. Doesn't take himself horribly seriously, but he knows what he likes. He knows what he doesn't like. It's fun to watch.
It would be. He's a great guy. And we're talking NFL. You have, of course, a new member of the broadcast team as far as the number one Fox crew goes. So have you talked to TB?
I have not, but they had a practice game in Detroit a week or so ago. They didn't bring all the booth guys in because it wasn't a full blown broadcast game. They were just taping it for whatever purposes, training and research purposes. So they left the spotter and myself. We work with Kurt Menefee, so we were doing a UFL game. So we just stayed with Kurt and did the football game rather than going to be just kind of doing a practice game. Kevin said, he said, well, I've told Tom all about you. And I said, do I need to hire a lawyer? I mean, do I need some references? Do I need to call Dave Peach or somebody to come in and vouch for me?
That'll help.
So all the things are going okay. There's a lot of work. There's a lot, but there's a lot of work being done with the crews internally at Fox. Tom Brady, and he is a gigantic work. He does not want anything to be anything less than wonderful and perfect, etc. So he will work as hard as humanly possible to really do a great job. So the only problem I feel bad for Tom is that he would be under such a microscope, that no matter what happens, there are enough Tom Brady haters that they will say, well, he's not as good as Greg Olsen. And congratulations to Greg. He won an Emmy this last week, by the way. Congratulations. Here's your Emmy. Now you don't have a job, although he is going to work for Fox. He is going to work on the B crew. So we do know that, but it's going to be interesting. The thing I'm looking forward to, as well as working for Tom, meeting him, doing that sort of thing like that. I've been talking to the security people, and they are absolutely going nuts because, the security that you're going to need for Tom Brady is way different than the security you need for Greg Olsen. And they're talking about having to do things like moving the president around, with the numbers of people and the things they got to do. So that's going to be very different for us, our crew. But, I've walked by myself to and from booths for 20, 25 years. And if they say, we're going to take Tom and you're on your own, well, then I'll just be on my own.
Well, the level of those that would like to get close to Tom Brady has to now you're talking, you could be talking about musicians with hit records. You could talk about authors that will be not allowed to go into the booth.
Oh, trust me, the booth thing is there are hard
or even in the hallway.
Yeah, there are hard and fast rules about what happens in the booth. I mean, because there's just so much stuff. Number one, there's just so much technical stuff. There's so much equipment laying around, and
would you let the equivalent of John Lennon in the booth, like the old Monday Night Football thing?
Well, if it's could he walk up and knock on the door and get in? Depends on how close to game time it is. If it's less than 30 minutes,
today? Taylor Swift. Would Taylor Swift?
Well, number one, she wouldn't. She wouldn't care.
Kansas City playing.
She's bigger
somebody.
than that. She's bigger. She doesn't need to be seen to be seen.
Okay.
But if it's less than 30 minutes, our crew has been like this. And this was when I was on the B crew and the C crew and the D crew. Less than 30 minutes before kickoff, nobody gets in. End of the story. In some way, shape, or form, unless it's a guy that signs their paychecks. He can kind of walk in, but he also knows where to stand and not to stand and what questions to ask and not to ask, and so yeah, I mean, there will be all kinds of stuff, I mean, we did the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And so there were hard and fast rules about at what point in time VIPs and other people could come into the booth, say hi, get a picture taken, shake somebody's hand, et cetera, and those rules just have to be followed because there's a gigantic broadcast to be prepared for, and those distractions just can't be allowed.
So it will be different this year with Tom Brady. I mean, on the crew as far as security.
Yes.
What about the overall game?
It's so interesting because having worked big games and now having worked the Super Bowl, you reach that point in time as a play-by-play guy. Because I know I'm speaking for Kevin because we and I've talked about this the very same thing. And then me as a stats guy, yeah, you reach a point somewhere before a game, whether it's week 7 and it's the last place teams in the AFC or the last place teams in the NFC, or it's the Super Bowl. You got to reach a point where you say it's just the next football game. You can't get caught up in the fact that it's being watched by 110 million people or by 65,000 people, because you can't let your performance drop because it's not being watched by very many, and you can't be frozen by the fact that it's being watched by half the nation. So you get that point where you just say, it's just the next game. You prepare for the game as you would for any other game, and the announcers have got more things to do because there's more sidelight, but a lot of those things are pre-recorded earlier in the week, earlier in the day, at the end of the minute, when 5, 10, 15 minutes before kickoff of the Super Bowl, it was just, hey, this is just like any other Sunday, and that's how you just have to treat it, because you just can't get overwhelmed by all the other stuff. Now, outside the booth, outside the arena, all the security, we all get our own cars, we all get 5 levels of things that have got to be done. That's all different, and that's all part of it, but that's the other part of it. So it's really a different universe.
One more question. Yeah. The math of bringing Tom Brady in, how high can the ratings go?
It's hard to say.
Yeah. I would say that is Fox thinking, wow, we've got X number of more viewers. They're going to be coming to these games because Tom Brady is going to do color.
Yeah, there's some of that, but the other part of it too is that there's a number of folks that will watch Fox games. There's a certain number of folks that watch a doubleheader game, whatever it happens to be. Yes, Tom will draw, but look at it. For 2 years, ever since he signed his big contract, that's just been, there's constant talk. There's just constant conversation, and it's all about Fox. Also, all the publicity is all good publicity, and when it gets to the point where now we're just doing games, well, you know what? This game is only going to certain numbers of folks. If it's a national broadcast, it's going to everybody. But, if we're doing week 2 and it's a regional game, it's only going to this region. And you just got to go from there. So I think some folks early on will tune in and say, well, I want to listen to Tom Brady, just to see how he does. And they'll get their impression. They'll say he's doing a great job, or he's doing a worse job, or he's doing about the same. And then they'll say, all right, well, now what's the game? At some point in time, the game becomes the most important thing, whether you're Tom Brady or Joe Buck or Iron Eagle or Sandlot Joe doing the game. At some point in time, and that's why NFL is so popular, is because in almost all cases, the quality of the game itself, the quality of the competition, and the quality of these broadcasts is superb.
I lied. There's one more question.
It's okay.
Okay. Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
How is he going to fit in to the Monday Night Football broadcast?
That I really don't know. I have heard plenty of rumors, and I'm not inside the track with ABC and ESPN on that, so I really don't have a good answer for that. Some of us thought that he was going to kind of be tied in like a Manning thing, like he and Peyton and Eli would kind of become the living room guys. I haven't heard very much about him being in the booth. I haven't heard very much about him being on the field. He could end up kind of like a Tony Dungy, has done for the Sunday night thing, and kind of be that sideline guy pre-halftime and post to kind of provide some analysis from that standpoint. I don't want to give you anything I don't know. I'm not. Some of those things I think are probably still being worked on. I think they'll probably practice a couple things and just see where he fits and who he fits with, and the same thing. He's got there are two really good announcers up in that booth already, and just say, okay, where does all this stuff fit together?
Well, we could talk about announcers for a long time.
Yes,
I tell you,
yes.
Jeff, I you know me, I love announcers. I follow them all, as many as I can, and certainly, the NFL, NBA, college basketball, all the things that you do.
Well, hey, and say hi to Brandon Gowden, and we go back to Major League Baseball, a good friend of the show. A guy I've had the pleasure to work with a few times like that. I know you're going to have him, on the air down the road and to have regularly. And he's a spectacular guy.
Well, we get him one time a year.
Okay.
We get him one time a year, and he is just a fantastic, of course he went to Butler, so we love that. But he, here's a kid that just keeps on going.
Yeah.
He just keeps, one thing after another. And it's been so remarkable to see his march to the top, and who knows where he's going to go. But I know right now, when you're a Major League Baseball TV announcer, when you're doing games on the college and professional level on major networks, you're doing college basketball, doing Westwood One, all that. It's been remarkable to see him.
Oh, it's great. And you love to have good things happen to good people. And Brandon is as good as they are. He's just a class act and a great guy.
Well, we will thank you, Jeff, once again for joining us on the Crawfordsville Peachcast, all things media, and take care.
I promise. You guys do the same. Safe travels and good listening and good viewing.
Jeff Nelson on the Crawfordsville Peachcast.
Central Indiana Rubber Products provides the power for you. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, keeps farm equipment and local manufacturing processes running with gaskets, belts, seals, and O-rings, among a variety of other products and services. Employee-owned and always customer-focused. Central Indiana Rubber Products, 989 West, 83 North, Crawfordsville, and at indianarubber.com. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, power for you.
Segment 3, Crawfordsville Peachcast. We're going to talk about TBT. Now, Dave, we talked about this stuff earlier. It's called the basketball tournament.
The basketball tournament.
So similar to my work in the basketball league,
yes,
I would always say the TBL. Now, as far as this basketball tournament, is it okay to say the TBT, or should you just say, here is TBT? Because that doesn't sound right either. Or that doesn't sound right to me.
It doesn't. They may just say TBT, but it does sound, if it is a quote pro league, it makes sense to say, you don't say NBA, you say the NBA or the NFL or the whatever.
But they don't have the in the title.
Right.
This is called the basketball tournament.
So you don't want to say the.
But it's not in that
basketball tournament.
We'll ask our friends at Fox Sports who are going to televise TBT. It's tough not to put in, but Butler is going to host the basketball tournament as far as a regional here this year. It's going to be at Hinkle Fieldhouse, July 19th through the 24th. Several former Butler players have announced they're going to be in it, including Shelvin Mack, Rodney Clark, and Paul Jorgensen, and I'm sure others will join. And this is a big deal. I have to say, I am not familiar with TBT.
Does it have an ESPN deal, I think?
It's Fox. It's Fox this year. Yeah, the basketball tournament is coming to Fox, FOX, FS1, and FS2 for a multi-year agreement. It was announced earlier this year. And it's a unique summertime basketball event. The TBT is a 64-team open application single elimination tournament played across the U.S. each summer since 2014. Time flies, Dave.
It does. Now, Dave, there is I believe a single owner of TBT. Is that correct, or is there?
You're gonna have to find that out on your own, Dave. I'm not really sure.
I'm gonna have to find it out.
But I do know that we've got regionals. Here are the regional sites: Wichita, Houston, Butler, Cincinnati, Dayton, Kentucky, Louisville, and Pittsburgh. And Butler will host this for the first time. I'm expected to be the public address announcer for the games.
That will be fun, Dave.
I'm excited about that.
Hopefully there'll be some good promotion of such. I would think it would draw well this summer.
We are also going to talk, and we teased this in segment 1, the Elam Ending.
Elam Ending. Again, nothing to do with weird-eyed actor from my youth, Dave. Jack Elam.
Jack Elam. Now, Nick Elam is, this is from a press release. He's a basketball super fan, Mensa genius. Was that an oxymoron? Mensa genius? I mean,
maybe among the Mensa folks, they distinguish.
Wow, that's a really smart person, a Mensa genius. Not just any normal genius.
Right.
This guy's a Mensa genius. He's really smart, folks. Ball State professor and Cincinnati Reds groundskeeper.
That must have been a younger position.
You did not have that on your bingo card. Nick Elam. The Elam Ending. Now, according to legend, he blindly emailed info@thetournament.com, and they put that in the press release. So this guy went to the contact us section. He didn't have a direct contact, and that you always wonder who's reading that one. I mean, is it info@nba.com? I'm sure it goes right to Adam Silver's desk.
It
right?
Does. It goes right to Adam Silver's.
I've got 579,000 of those to read today.
Oh, my.
Okay. It was a 76-page PowerPoint deck outlining a rule change proposal he called the hybrid duration format.
Not catchy.
No. So they called it the Elam Ending, and they actually decided to implement this in TBT.
So
in
the original
2017.
home of the Elam Ending.
Yeah. Now, what is the Elam Ending, Dave? You say you know.
Well, I'll say this. I listened to a podcast where Mr. Elam explained, and I know I'll let you talk about it, but it's basically the idea is to preserve the finish of a game, right? In some fashion that corresponds with the clock getting shut off in the fourth quarter. That's kind of what I know.
Well, the Elam Ending, and you're right. What they do is they set after the third quarter. So I guess the third quarter is timed essentially the same as, and I'm not really sure about TBT rules. I don't know if it's 4 10-minute quarters. I assume it is, but I do not know. Don't hold me to that. In a future podcast, we're going to go over the things that we got wrong in a segment called Mistakes. I've made a few, but that'll be our next Untoasted segment. So listen up for that. So here we go. A target score is set by adding 8 points to the leading team's score. Let's say it's 80 to 72. So they say now the target score is 88.
Okay.
The target score is 88. The first team to reach 88 wins. The game clock is eliminated. Trailing teams are allowed to focus on getting stops rather than preventing the clock from running out. This results in great defense and pure basketball possessions all the way to the end. Actually, Elam was watching an NCAA tournament game, and he didn't like the way it was ending because there were hurried possessions and fouls and all that. And you got to admit, when it's a 10-point margin and a minute to go, and they're fouling and the stoppage and all that, it's not really the most exciting way to end a basketball game. But I'm sure there's differing thoughts on the Elam Ending, but we will see it in the TBT.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting, and maybe we can talk about this right after the tournament, because your perspectives you're going to be up close. So you're going to have, kind of a little trial that you've sat in that seat for thousands of games. So now with
I don't know if it's thousands, but go ahead. Yeah. It sounds good. Sounds good.
It's got to be over 1,000, right?
36 times 20 is what? That's only 720, right? 35
okay.
times 20 is only 700. Maybe
Okay,
800. Maybe 800.
I'm adding.
Yeah,
I'm
but
adding.
you're good.
You
I
know,
like it. That's
yeah,
good.
you're over $1,000. That's what I say.
The Elam PA chart.
Your 10,000 hours in that seat,
Thank you.
that building are there. So I'm just saying you will be, your perspective will be good because you don't really have a dog in the fight, right? You want Butler to win if Butler's playing, but a good game is a good game, better for all.
It's almost kind of like a baseball deal.
Yeah.
Where it could go, the old George Carlin thing. I mean, I guess it could go on forever because they don't know when it's going to end. Somebody's got to get 88 points. Or I wonder where he came up with, and the Elam Ending is trademarked, just in case you did not know. I wonder where he came up with the 8 points.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there was quite a bit of tweaking to arrive at something that made the most sense. And yeah, that's a great question to ask of Nick, who should be on the Peachcast, Dave.
He should be, and maybe he'll be at. I mean, since he's
local.
Seems like he hangs out at Ball State and Cincinnati Reds. Of course, I guess with the Zoom call, it doesn't matter. But I guess he could be definitely in person at Hinkle Fieldhouse watching a game.
Yeah, that would be good.
Watching how it ends.
You could if it doesn't go well, everybody point to Nick.
I wonder. But I'm good with it. I think it's kind of cool. I don't see the NCAA or the NBA or the WNBA going to it, but there's been some crazy things. I mean, we talked about this. The G League had a one-shot foul that counted for 2 points.
The people. I mean, I know that you try to do things that, in some way, as players get better and the game adapts with the skill and speed and agility of the players, you try to make these okay, but this is taking longer, so we got to do this. But boy, some things just don't make as much sense.
A couple of things in the UFL, they have the 3-point conversion. Sorry, I can't even say it with a straight face.
It is. You mean
the 3-point conversion?
It's just like, you're giving it a different name.
Nine points is a 1-possession game in the UFL.
Oh, Dave, I don't know about you, and I know those games are on, and when I'm flipping around,
when you're down 18, it's a 2-possession game. They do 2 touchdowns and 2 threes, and they've got this baby tied.
I was going to say, other than The Rock, there's no he hate me so far has emerged, right, out of this new league.
And we need to smile when we say that because Jeff Nelson, of course, I mean, it's one of those things. Also, I know in the days of the ABA, they probably snickered at the 3-point shot. So,
and
they ain't snickering anymore.
Red, white, and blue basketball. Come on,
I love that. Why isn't that
the 3-point line, Dave?
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Yes.
They invented the 3-point shot in the ABA.
And I mean, today is there a bigger, more, that's the play that probably changes the most games faster than anything else.
That's right. The 3-point shot, everybody taking more threes and all the analytics and all that. And I'm sure that Nick Elam knows all about that. And it's going to be exciting when we get to the TBT, or when we get to when TBT. I'm really going to have trouble.
The TBT. I would say it. Say the TBT.
The TBT. Okay. When the TBT comes to Hinkle Fieldhouse and other spots. And that's one. I'm sure there'll be a production meeting at Fox to go over exactly how to do that, but that's on their end. My end is reading a script, but we'll see where those scripts land if we have the double when we talk about the TBT coming. I know a lot of people are going to be thinking about this as we get closer to July 19th, right out there in Peachcast land.
Peachcast land, Dave, the local flavor followers will be all over Hinkle Fieldhouse to see if Rodney can still shoot, and what else happens.
We do have some shooters. I mean, when you talk about Shelvin Mack, we talk about Paul Jorgensen. Talk about Rodney Clark. I mean, these are guys, particularly Jorgensen and Clark. I mean, they
cross the
cross the timeline. They can hit it. Shelvin equally good, and of course, highly
how many
skilled.
years in the NBA did Shelvin have?
8 years. 8 years.
And was he drafted a second round, maybe, or
second rounder?
Definitely was not expected to be an 8-year NBA veteran. So, wow.
What a story. Shelvin Mack out of Lexington, Kentucky, and Butler University. So, TBT coming up. Dave, always fun. Next up for us, a movie called Rockabye Baby with Jerry Lewis. I know we've both seen it, and we're looking forward to talking about it.
Absolutely, Dave. An entertainment extravaganza for Jerry, and set here in Indiana.
Definitely. Was it Midvale? Midville?
Midvale.
Midvale.
Yes. One of the many made up names for Indiana towns when TV shows take over.
Midvale and more on the Crawfordsville Peach Cast coming up when we do an untoasted segment for Rockabye Baby and Jerry Lewis. Dave, always great to talk to you. Have a great day out there.
Thank you, Dave. My pleasure.
That is Dave Meyer. We are the Crawfordsville Peach Cast. We are presented by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892, and Central Indiana Rubber. Power for you. 1, 2, 3. Hello.
Hello.
Todd.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for listening to the Crawfordsville Peach Cast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. Tune in Thursday for a new episode on Apple or Spotify, and please like, subscribe, and download the Crawfordsville Peach Cast. This podcast was produced and edited by Up Their Media and is a presentation of Fork Broadcasting Digital. I'm Dave Peach, inviting you to join me next week.